CHAP tales. Don't you wanna hear some CHAP tales? Doobie 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 doo. Doobie 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 chaparral. What's happening, people? How you doing? Tazoob, how you? Okay, so it's time for another CHAP tale, and I have been digging. I'm really digging now. We're up to like 129. Nice. Okay. Right, yeah, so this is another story about a fishing trip that I took with my pal Dino Chaperonier on Hampstead Heath at the men's swimming pond, Parley 2. Yeah, great lake with a big fat fish called Lips, and the old nice fish that Dean had that died, poor bastard. Yeah, anyway, so we go night fishing, whatever. We used to do little sessions over the weekends and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, and we went up there and like yes, we were just having a good old night fishing, and like I was in my bivvy with my Jack Russell cuddled up in the old bed chair, the old sleeping bag, and yeah, so I'm a kip, and my rod screams, and when you're in like some sleep having a dream about being a famous rock star, you take a little while to get out of bed. But so before I knew it, Dean had flown out of his bivvy and struck into a fish on one of my rods, and I was like fuming, you know what I mean? It's like I'm not about to get out of the tent and say, give me my rod or whatever, you know what I mean? Because he's struck into the fish, and if I do that, it's going to go down as like, oh, but if Dean would have hooked it for you, you wouldn't have caught it, you know what I mean? So you just sit there glaring at him like, go on then, you bastard. Well, anyway, so get the fish in, weigh it. It's only a pasty, weighing somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds. Yeah, so put the fish back, rebaited my rod, recast, set it all up nicely. Looked at Dean with the ump, and then climbed back into my bed chair with my beautiful Jack Russell Lennon. Anyway, no more wake ups in the night. Neither of us had another thing, so Dean just caught that one fish on my rod. So anyway, next day we wake up like it's I don't know, but I know we're fairly close to going home. Probably the next morning we're going home, because we used to do 2 nights or whatever. Nice. So Dean's like, oh, do you know what? Is it right if I just run home and have a bath and come back? Like, we always used to do this, you know what I mean? Don't want to be sitting up the heath like a smelly bastard, do you? So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. It was like proper early as well, like 6 hours in the morning, you know what I mean? Like, and Dean was like, yeah, I swear I'll be like 45 minutes, yeah, and then you can go and have a wash and that. And I was like, sweet, alright, nice one. So Dean goes, and it's just me and my Jack with like his rods. He's left them out, which he's, because then it means I'm in control of 4 rods, and that's not, it's too many, you know what I mean? Can't look after 4 rods. I struggle when I've got 3 out of my own, you know what I mean? Like 2 is good. So he's gone, and me and Lennon just, I'm mucking about, giving him his breakfast, and do you know what I mean? My little baby dog, love that dog so much. But yeah, so we're there like, and we're just sitting there, and Dean's rod has screamed off, and I was just like, with a big grin on my face, thinking, yeah, you got one on my rod, I've got one on your rod now. So I walked over to the rod, and I struck it into something, playing it like, and it's starting to feel very unusual, like it's dying about left and right, and like the carp usually just like go off that way, and then they go the other way, but you know what I mean, it's just, it feels different. Felt different. Can't even speak. It felt different. But so anyway, I'm playing it for about 10 minutes or whatever, like, and I'm not really making any progress. Like, it's just all over the shop, this so-called fish. And then I'm thinking to myself, have I hooked into like a pike or something? You know what I mean? Because it's just, it don't feel like a carp. Like, so I'm playing it for ages. It seemed like a good half hour that I was playing this so-called fish, and then I start to make a bit of progress, and it's getting closer to me. Get the net in the water nice and deep so I can pull it up over the fish when it's like in the area or whatever. Anyway, when it gets to the area where I'm gonna pull the net over it, I've realised that it's not a fish, baby. It's a fucking coat. You know, the black ducks with the white beaks. Anyway, so I've landed this coat, like put my rod on the pod and put the bait runner on so I can move about, and it's not going to pull the rod off the pod. So at the time I had this cradle, like proper nice for the carp. Like, it's a wicked nice carp cradle, better than any silly landing mat, you know what I mean? So I've put the net into this where it had a bit of water in it and all that, and anyway, so this coat is sitting in the net, and I'm thinking, right, okay, let's unhook this baby, and do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm looking, and it ain't got no hooks in its mouth. I was just like, oh my god, so it ain't gone for the bait. So I'm looking around it like that, and it's like, do you know what I mean? Like, giving me little pecks and whatever, you know what I mean? And then I've realised that the coat has been hooked through the foot, so it must have just been diving for I suppose my boilies, but yeah, and it's, I don't know how, but it's got itself hooked on the foot. And I ain't even joking, right? I looked at this foot where it was hooked, yeah, and coats have got they're just like dangerous weapons, their feet. Oh my god, it was just like, it's like 3 big knives coming off of its foot. Like, I was like, wow, that is dangerous. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like very careful, like being nice to the coat the whole time, and then we managed to get the hook out of its foot and that, and so I've moved the rod away and that, and then this coot's there, and I'm having a little look at its foot, because I thought I don't really want to like it to be injured or whatever, like, so we use this medical stuff that you put on carp's mouths and that, if they're a bit pulled about by the hook or whatever. So I put some on the coat's foot, like, just to, I don't know if I should have, but I just, at the time it felt like the right thing to do. And then beautiful birds they are, though. They're beautiful, amazing birds, like, and once, and it kind of knew that I weren't gonna be an arse, you know what I mean? I weren't gonna hurt it or nothing. I was there to, do you know what I mean, make sure it's all right and that. And once I'd done that, and I, do you know what I mean, made sure it was all right, checked its wings and that, and made sure that it hadn't got like messed up in the net or anything like that. And once I'd done all that, like, I picked the coat up out of the net, like, round its body, like, and I laid on the floor, because there was like a couple of foot before the water from the bank, you know what I mean, in this particular lake, and I thought I need to lower it into the water, you know what I mean, and so I lowered it into the water, and it sort of swam off, and it sort of like had a little look back at me as it was swimming off, like, cheers mate. But it was sweet, it was okay. It just flew back to the rest of the coots and got on with cooting it up, you know what I mean. But like, so Dean's rod, like, I didn't bother recasting it or whatever. I just hooked the big eye with a hook and and like tightened the line and that, put it on his pod, turned his buzzer off. And then I went back to my tent, and Lennon was just sitting there just looking at me like, why didn't you just let me eat it? But he was sitting there like, and I was thinking, oh god, man. And then I can hear like Dean coming down the hill, and he's like got some breakfast for us with him, like a couple of bacon rolls or whatever. I don't know if his mum had made them or whether he bought them in a cafe, whatever. So he's come over and we've sat down on our deck chairs outside our bivvies and that, and then he's looked round and he's spotted his rods, like, so he's like, what's going on? Have you been, why is my rod not out? Like, and I was like, Dean, I was like, I had lips. And he was like lips is like one of these well-known fish that lives in the men's swimmer and that, and I was just lying to him, like saying that I'd had it, and he was like, did you get pictures? And I said, well, I couldn't hold it and take a picture, could I? So I've laid it in the cradle and I took loads of pictures of it in the cradle, you know what I mean, before I let it go. And he's like, oh my god, man, I can't believe I went home, why didn't you go home first? And then I couldn't keep on, like, so I told him the truth. I said, no, that it weren't actually a fish. And he's like, what do you mean it weren't a fish? And I was like, it was a bloody coot. And he's like, you caught a coot? And I was like, well, yeah, but do you know what I mean? And Dean, one of these people who's going to take the piss out of me to the end of the earth, you know what I mean? Like, so the minute I said that, that's it. He was in hysterics. He was cracking up, like, and then like a couple of hours later around lunchtime, a few of our pals from Ingester or whatever, they always used to come up there and see if he's alright, see what's happening, you know what I mean? So Dean's told them all that I've caught a coat, like, and oh my god, they just all cracking up, like, he's saying that he caught a fish on my rod in the night before, like, and then he was exactly right, because he was saying, I bet you the minute my rod screamed off, in your head you was thinking, haha, got your back, Dino. And I was exactly thinking that when his rod screamed off, you know what I mean? And even after half an hour of playing what I thought was a fish, I was thinking that. It was only that when it got into the landing zone, you know what I mean, like, I just see it was a coat, and I was like, oh my god. But it is mental, because like that story seemed to go around for a little while, like everyone taking the piss out of me and that. But there you go. Okay, sweet. Another little chapter. 129. Here we go. If I can get to 140, I can stretch them out to the end of the year. But yeah, so nice one. Well, please like, subscribe, hit bells, and comment and all that sort of stuff. And I guess that I will speak to you once I've thought of the next one. Mwah. Chap tales. Don't you wanna hear some chap tales?